welcome to FACEHAMMER and the second part of the Soulblight Gravelords. We finally got our book.
With books.
I know.
We got them later than everyone else in the world, so hopefully next time there's something exciting, we can get it at a point which is a little bit more helpful for everyone. But we did get them.
Games Workshop. I got a limited edition UPS version, so like, you know, obviously like getting a weird Tetris style book.
Mine came in perfect.
Mine was trodden on like that, and it's,
you got a Southern edition, Russ. To sort yourself out if you would.
Don't tread on me. Is that what you mean?
Yep.
There's a reference. No, it's fine.
Gorgeous,
it's still amazing, even with the crease in it. Yeah, yours does look very nice, Barry. It's okay. Just a shout out to I'm getting a limited edition one soon, hopefully. So fingers crossed. So yeah, I did bite the bullet because I just love the artwork so much. I was like,
there is some pretty stuff in this book everywhere.
Yeah,
it's like just from basically like
it's fantastic.
Oh,
sorry. I'm glad you told me to shut up.
Type of Haribo, aren't they? But yeah, the book's just, you know, pretty exquisite actually. I like how Geiger-esque the little statues are on the pages, on the edges and stuff like that. It's a beautiful thing to hold finally. So it's it's mega. And a load of the artwork for the individual scrolls is just, I think it's just nice to get a bit of inspiration going. And
I've started to build my army as well. Look. Oh, Vengorian Lord.
Are you building it as per, and how do you feel about it now you've held it in your hands?
I like it. Yeah, it's. I think it's swanky. It's a little bit of a pain to build. I found that it felt a little bit kind of. I had this weird bit when it has his back, and I was trying to put it on the back of the beast, and I realised no, his back is on his torso, upper back, not the lower back. It was very confusing. But yeah, it's very nice. You're going to have to paint it in sub-assemblies, which I hate, but needs must.
I came to realisation about it. So my issues with this is that its waist comes out of its shoulders, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
But you know what they call? They called like flesh wolves or something, the Forge World things.
Oh, what the skin
wolves. Yeah. So if you got like a head of anything wolfy that was roaring at the moon or looking aggressive, and it went there, and he didn't use armor, you could sculpt a little bit of fur around the joint, and I think that would look like evil and disgusting and mutated, and I think that model could look... Yeah, basically, yeah. I think it looked phenomenal like that.
Like, I remember seeing on the lead up to the release, someone did a Photoshop of a Blood Knight on the actual Vengorian Lord body, so the torso of where the vampire comes out of is actually the horse of a Blood Knight, and there's a rider sat on the back. Yeah. And actually I don't know if it was the same guy, but I saw someone actually did it with the models and it looked great. Don't know who that is. I will probably find it if I can, but I just saw it and I went, oh, that's cool. And then I probably forgot who it was. But if it's you, well, awesome. And if you know who it is, post it in the comment and we'll shout them out.
That's cool. I've opened up. So what have I opened up? I opened up Fellbats. They don't have many pieces. They look cool.
Oh, yeah, they're really easy to build. So I've clipped all mine off the sprues, put them in a big pile and not built them. Because I was going to go to build them, and I was like, no, I need to do some other stuff that I've been putting off. And I was like, I'll put them to one side, and they've just stayed in a pile. They're all actually next to me on the floor. That's how I treat my models. No, I've got like these little cutting mats, and I put them on the cutting mat, and I go, right, I need my desk to put my keyboard on. So I take the cutting mat, and I go, where do I put it? And I go, I can reach it if I drop it here. So I just drop it. So around me, you can't see, but around me is like little islands of models and paints and
well,
books.
That's, you've got bits of bodies everywhere around you. That's absolutely fine, isn't it?
Oh, don't. The police will be round. No, you mean like models, right? Yeah.
I think it's actually it's a pretty lavish feeling book, although, and I knew this would be the case.
I'm sure it is. I don't know yet.
But like,
mine's floppy.
Mine is not.
Despite being overly excited about the release, my book is floppier than I want it to be.
Mine is just turgid with battle scrolls.
It is turgid with scrolls. I'm going to say that.
Yeah, look at that. Like,
I know.
That is crazy. We've had some books recently where like the scrolls has been like this bit.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
This is meaty vampire book. Love it.
It is, isn't it?
We did as well on the. Huh?
Should we jump into the scrolls? Or
yes, we can. Before we get into the War Scrolls, so I just want to say that we did say on the live show, so we've done some lists already, so we kind of done it a bit asked about face. So if you watch the live tech show, you probably already have. If you have, great. If you haven't, check it out, like a sub or whatever. No. So if you watch that, we talk about the Cursed City box and how you can't get it. So there's a load of scrolls that actually you can't. We were like, well, you can't buy them. Then literally, I think like an hour after we recorded the show, they put up a next week pre-order, and you can now buy the models that are in the book separately in a set direct from GW. So we will cover them because I actually think it's a good option. I looked through it and I was actually think there's some really good stuff in there because you get like 7 units for one cost, and it's like 700 points. It's
okay. Well, that's like we can. Let's see about that. You can get them from Element Games as well.
Ooh, click link below.
Anything direct home you can get from Element. So as long as they put it on the spreadsheet, you can get your stuff all in one place.
Yeah. Providing they're in stock.
Providing they exist in the world currently, which is we'll see how that happens with the release. And obviously, which we're expecting to come pretty soon of this, and so I expect that everyone will be over the moon for Age of Sigmar in general. Not sure what that will do to supply, but
well, obviously we know that everyone's trying their hardest to make sure we get the stuff because they're not allergic to money. Let's be honest. And obviously before we get into the main show on Saturday, there is an announcement about Dominion, an unboxing. About the new edition. I will do a video on that. We're going to do a live show because it's also Kragnos week. We're waiting on Kragnos. Now I'm hoping that we have that. The War Scroll has been revealed. We're not going to talk about that in this show, but I will do a show on that. Maybe a little show of me talking about the War Scroll. But on the Saturday night this week, I'm going to do a live show where we go through the Dominion unboxing. It'll be 8 p.m. GMT as usual on the Saturday. And then what I want to do is discuss the Kragnos list points things as long as I can. If I don't have it, we'll do something else. But I can at least talk about stuff, and we can just talk about what the reveal is and what's going on. Yeah. So it might just be a list tech or something. I don't know. But we will be live and we'll do something. It might be a complete disaster. But
might be ad hoc.
It might be. But I'm hoping that we have the book from GW. Thank you very much if it's coming, and we think it is, and we appreciate it, and then we can do a show on it. So, right then, Soulblight.
We jump in.
Yes.
Jump into our 7,000 War Scrolls.
Yes, so there's a lot. So we're going to go with the battalions because they're
I was going to say
first, and then
because there's less of them.
There's not many. And then what we'll do is we'll go through the War Scrolls. Now I've got them up on the web browser, slightly different order to the book. I do have pictures, but the pictures have annoyingly got a crease down the middle of them for the reasons you see. So
shout out page numbers, Russ.
I don't know what they are, but yeah, okay. Because I haven't got the pages, but yeah, you can do the page numbers. I mean, it's in similar order. So right, so War Scroll Battalions. So we featured the Red Banqueters on the show. And obviously, I'm not just going to read what stuff does. We'll talk about how it synergizes, why it's good, and stuff like that. And you can see the War Scroll, or you've probably got your book. You can read along at home. And then
96.
Thanks very much. Then what we'll do is we'll talk more about the synergies and why it's good. And then if you want to read how many attack stuff has or what the rules do, then you can do that. We're not going to go into that every line by line. But Red Banqueters is 2 Vampire Lords. Now,
some discussion on this.
It's not keyword bold, so I thought it was just the foot vampire. But then someone on our live show said that there's an FAQ that says that if it's a subtext heading, then it's the top heading count.
So like Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon.
Yeah.
Small text. There's some debate there. So if you know or can cite the place that was, do please link it below. We would genuinely appreciate that because I won't run this if these guys can't be on dragons. So,
no, exactly. And I would say that I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember the name, but thank you for pointing that out during the show because it does help us. So it's 2 Vampire Lords. Hopefully they can be VLOZD. A Bloodseeker, Palaquin, or a Coven Throne, and 2 Bloodknight units. And then in your hero phase, heal D3 wounds. It's 100 points, right?
Heal D3 wounds allocated to each unit in the battalion. So no restrictions. Nice. I'm down. Good selection of units. Even, I mean, the Bloodseeker, Palaquin, and Coven Throne, they're not crap anymore, that's for sure. And Vampire Lords, whether they can be on Zombie Dragons or otherwise, are still good. It's just, I'm going to have some on Zombie Dragons in my army. It's not that I don't think this is good without them on it, but if I don't get to put people on dragons, I'm not interested.
We all want a big red, big flappies. I do have a really good use for the Vampire Lord. I've written a Mannfred list, which I think is particularly good, but I'll talk about it later. Cool. So Fellwing Flock is the next one. 2 to 3 Vargheists, 2 to 3 Fellbats, and you get +1 to hit with many weapons if it charged. So it's okay.
Yeah, it's just okay. I think basically that one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a slightly weird selection of units, although if you are in the right dynasty...
Legion and Knight is probably quite good, because Vargheists become a battle line, and then
exactly,
you're probably going to be charging with them. Fellbats don't care.
80 points as well. So,
which is pretty good, because you get an artifact, you get a command point.
Fairly reasonable.
It's... so then we've got the Death Stench Drove, 1 to 2 corpse carts, keyword bold, there we go, see, are awesome. 2 Direwolf units, 2 Deadwalker zombie units, all good. Nexus of Malevolence, add 1 to the attacks of melee weapons used by units in this battalion, whose units are wholly within 12 of any corpse carts. So you get Everbuster in your corpse carts, and you get an extra attack.
Doesn't seem bad, really.
No, +1 save and +1 attack, and it's how many points? 100, and it's all your battle line, and in Vikros it's particularly good because all your buff seems to work around Deadwalkers. So most of my armies have 2 corpse carts in, and 2 units of Deadwalkers and 1 unit of Direwolves. That's like my staple battle line. Because for me, it's like they're just too good. Like we'll talk about it later, but they're great. 80 point.
We certainly will. Spoiler: the best thing in this book is
corpse cart.
20 zombies.
We love it.
Phenomenal.
Then Death March. So it's an old favourite.
120 points this one, so hopefully it does a bit more.
1 to 3. So it's a Wight King, keyword bold. 1 to 3 Black Knight units, 1 to 3 Graveguard units, 2+ Deathrattle skeleton units, and you have March of the Dead. At the start of your movement phase, pick up to 3 different units wholly within 12 of the Wight King, add 3 to their move. They can still either run or charge.
I mean, it's not D3, it's just 3. And move is nice, and it's not a... I mean, I guess you probably feel, because you're not too hot on them, that you'd be taking that 1 to 3 Black Knights means 1. Yeah, I thought so. But
unless you were in... Well, you've got to take 2 Death Rattles anyway, so yeah. If you're in Legion of Blood, then you could use Black Knights as battle line. So you Graveguard is battle line if your Wight King's a general. And if you're running a Mortarch... I think Graveguard are the hidden gem in this book.
Agreed, yeah. So pretty, a bit more expensive, but solid. And that's a decent proportion of an army.
I've got the list I've got. I think that they can get up to +3 attacks, plus going twice, +1 to hit, +2 to wound, reroll 1s to hit with a +1 save, with a death save. There you go.
Nice.
It's good. Graveguard are good.
And you would use this formation in that?
No.
Okay.
No, I haven't got the formation. I did too much of attacks. I don't personally. Deathrattle skeletons, I'm not sure about them. I think maybe they're okay, but I just think for 20 Deathrattles, they're 85. So you're looking at 170 points for 20, and then you can use a unit of 20 zombies and a corpse cart is 195 points, and I think it's better.
Is there not an argument about the reach potential on their weapons being a
1 inch?
Can they not get? Can they not have spears anymore?
Not anymore. Kit doesn't have. Okay. The kit does actually have spears. Don't. I don't know what. Because
if there's one thing this book didn't get right, it's bloody reach on long things. Do not get me started on the poor VLOZD with the longest weapon in the game of Warhammer.
Still only 1 inch. It's just, I think with that lance, you're overcompensating for something.
Yeah. Maybe the argument is that his dragon is this big and he can still only just about tickle the ground with it.
Yeah, but the dragon's mouth has got a 3-inch reach and he's on top of it.
Anything that's damage 4 is definitely capable of having more than 1 inch reach when it's, as tall as Archeon or taller than Archeon. Anyway, okay, so yeah,
I'm now intrigued, so I'm going to get my Flappy book out. This is my my Soulblight Gravelords battle tome on Flappy. Sorry, I'm just Skellies. I don't know. Do they? Are they? I think they're only 1 inch reach. I might be wrong. I might be smoking crack, but
this would be important if they were.
We'll get into them in a minute. No, they're 1 inch.
1 inch, yeah.
So it's just ancient blade or spear with the same profile.
That feels a bit grim, isn't it? 'Cause that used to be one of the nice things about them is you could have. I used to do little darts of 10. Obviously, that's not an option any longer. But I had these little darts of 10, and their frontage was they were
spears. So you can literally give them all spears. So it's not like the kit doesn't come with it. I mean, you've got hand weapons, like you can see them on there. Yeah. So it's not like they don't come with it. I don't know.
But I used to run them like 3, 3, 3, 1 somewhere to keep them at a tiny frontage and just blob them on the corner of stuff, and all of those could still attack because they were.
I mean, they used to get
tiny bases
because they were like 2s and like with 4 attacks each, and it's ridiculous. But like now they're like 4s and 3s, no rend.
Perhaps someone using a spear felt too martial as well when they should have been more shambly body. So I could get that.
I mean, it does simplify things a little bit, I guess, and you can mix the weapons. So I'm going to have a mix, so my army looks a bit. So I can have like one unit maybe with all with spears, so they're the 2 different units if they're next to each other.
That's nice, yeah. That's like a good way to do it.
Otherwise, you're just going to end up build one of the variants anyway, right? Because whichever's the best one, that's what you're going to build. So yeah. So that's the formations. A Death March, it's okay. There is one of the Cursed City guys, the captain. He allows you to move. The captain, that's how it's run. I don't know why suddenly Captain Morgan jumped in my head. A captain, but he gives you a extra 4 inches as well. So it could be a +7 on your move. I think we'll get onto it because when I get to it, I might be wrong. It might be when you run and you just don't. I think when you run, you don't run. You just move an extra 4 and it doesn't count as running. So yeah, but now I'm gonna go to the normal scrolls. Through the web browser. I do have those because it's a better quality.
We're starting with the big man.
Nagash. Yeah. We can start with Nagash, but basically he's the same. There's no change. In Soulblight, he gains the keyword, he gets some abilities that are stuck in the allegiance, and on the other show we cover it, so I'm not going to say Nagash.
No, he's very worth taking, I think. It's
he's good.
He's not he's not a poopy option for his high points value.
I just think he knows all the spells in Death Mages and Vampires, which is like good, because if he didn't, he wouldn't be worth having. But it's
and we covered it in the last show as well, so do feel free to listen to that for more of this. But the Mortarks, they get access to this as well, so that's a really, really good reason to take them, because the spell for the Necromancers or these guys is phenomenal. Really, really good. So just having as many people within reason with access to the spells from that lore, or having all of them in the case of Nagash, is awesome.
Yeah, and they're just great. I mean, Mannfred, let's talk about Mannfred. I'm on him now.
That's good.
So 3-up save now. Awesome.
Good start.
He used to be a 4+. They've changed the wound profile, so although his movement goes down, he starts at a 16-inch move, which is pretty fast.
That's my ideal minimum in my army, 16.
Yeah, that's most stuff's normally about 12, 14, so it's quite unusual to have that fit. I mean, they've always been quick, the Mortarks.
Quick with slightly less wounds than people expect.
So, I mean, we did talk about him on the live, but basically, he's really cool. I mean, what they've done as well, like Mannfred and Neferata, that they count as the general in addition to other models. So if you're in the right bloodline, so it means that you can put traits and artifacts. You could have a different general. So, for example, like in the list I've written, the Wight King on Steed is my general, and I've given him a command trait. But Mannfred's in the list, and he's still a commander, so he's still the general. So it's like you don't lose that he's not the general. It's a bit of a weird thing.
Have your cake and eat it. Yeah.
Why not have 2 generals? It's like I'm greedy. If I want one, I'll have the second one.
Have Mannfred and Neferata, which I think is not.
I think that's a good list. I think both of them together is pretty disgusting.
Agreed.
So he's a vampire, so he gets the hunger. So if he kills models, he gets to heal. Elm for the Temple Hoff, ignore the first mortal wound or wound allocated to this model in each phase. That's really good. Like it's just
good. It's incredible.
Yeah.
Don't underestimate how nuts that is. That is really, really, really good, and always amounts to more than it should.
So the Sword of Unholy Power, right? So if enemy models are slain by wounds inflicted by Geist 4 until the end of the phase, +1 attack of melee weapons of Soulblight Gravelord units, summonable units, while they're wholly within 12. So Graveguard are summonable. If you've got a big unit of Graveguard, Mannfred's near them, kill something, they're all got +1 attack. Crazy.
And Graveguard's attacks are just pretty solid as well.
Damage 2 glaives, but do mortals in addition, and they're going twice with Van Hels.
We'll come to this when we look at their equipment, but you can... Yeah, you can you can build around your army quite nicely with them. I think there's definitely different ways to go with them.
Yeah, and he's got this. This is an amazing rule. This is a new rule. So Mortal Archon Knight, start the combat phase. Within 3 of enemy units, you can just remove them from the battlefield. Set them up more than 9 from all enemy units. So they charge you with something. You're gonna kill me. You're gonna go. Nope, I'm out. See you later.
Mannfred got good, didn't he? Basically.
Yeah. Yeah, he did.
So he went from a infrequently taken. You know,
he was just always overcosted. He was like over 400 points all the time. Just it's not just worth 400. He's not that good.
It's been about four years coming, hasn't it?
I finally got him over the line. I was like kept fighting in his corner, going like, make it cheaper, make it cheaper. So he's 380 now. His spell, he gets 2 spells. Wind of Death is great because it's basically you enemy unit with 18, and then you roll a dice for that unit and each other within 6 of that unit, and on a 3+ they take D3 mortal wounds.
And that unit could be sprung out.
It could be a massive unit of witch elves, and they've got all their other stuff all the way around it. And it's like 6 is quite a long way, because you think like they've got a big blobby unit and they've got a unit here that's probably less than 6. That's probably less than 6. All the here,
definitely.
So like the potential of that is pretty big.
It also means people might put their characters further away from their units than is ideal, which is, you know, if you're screwing up people's heads and their deployment by literally doing nothing, you've already gained some equity from just him having that on his profile. So make sure you remind your opponents that this exists, because you should.
Yeah, just politely remind them, like, get your 6 out. Oh, just make sure you're not within 6, or you'll get my Wind of Death. And normally that's quite a significant threat when you say to another.
I thought that was an across the table ability.
Yeah, it's normally in the gaming hall. So there's one thing I haven't missed about tournaments. So the Vigor of Undeath command ability. So once per turn in the hero phase, +1 hit and wound for Soulblight Gravelords units wholly within 12 of this model. So
that's solid.
Just great economy, right? Those Graveguard.
Really good economy. Yeah.
+1/+1, +1 attack.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
So
I mean, you could tell I'm excited about Graveguard, right?
And I can tell you're excited about Mannfred. He's definitely
exciting. But
he became
is also exciting.
Yeah, he became incredible. What would you, if he was a C? What is he now? Well, he was a D, wasn't he?
Oh, are we not doing tiers? Are we?
I just want an indication of how much he's jumped up, because it's lots.
And Mannfred's always been S tier to me, because he's a death model. 0. I don't own him. Alright, he's
okay. You're gonna own him soon, though, aren't you?
What is it tiering it next to? I mean, we talk about intern the book or improvement or
fair, yeah.
Like, it's like.
Other things of that points value that are a big character. I think he is, you know, the utility of buffing the army, him on his own, his ability to heal, his spell is sick. He can take spells from one of the best lores in all of Warhammer. There isn't much bad to say about this model. Even his save got better, and he moves 16 inches. So, yeah. I think he's
solid.
He's awesome too.
Do you know what's really? Yeah, he's awesome. Everything is awesome. Everything's awesome in this book. I do think that, but I am a Death fan, so fan of Death. I was going to say, actually, like, one of the cool things, I was talking about, like, in the Legion of Night, you can have another general with command trait, one of the traits duplicates what his sword does. So it's called like, I think it's called like Unholy Assault or something like that. So if you kill a model with that model, that also does the bubble +1 attack. So if both of them go in, that's +2 attacks. Then you can use the command ability of the Vampire Lord for another attack. And if you've got Radukar the Beast, you can get another attack. So you give it +4 attacks on your Graveguard, 5 attacks a model.
I'll do it.
Yeah. It's like the perfect storm to be that close and everything be able to kill stuff. And like then the Graveguard just sit there while they get powered up, then go. They go, there's nothing left because Mannfred's killed it all. And they're like, cool.
Rock into Fire Slayers or something slow. That'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, but you've got to kill a model to get the buff. So. So Neferata,
then.
Yeah. So yeah, she's
save again.
Yeah, boosted save. She's got a better hunger because she gets D6 rather than 1 because she is the Mortarch of Blood. She's got Dagger of Jet, right? So at the end of any phase, if any wounds inflicted by Amek Ha in that phase were allocated to an enemy hero not negated, and that enemy model has not been slain, roll a dice on a 5+, the hero is slain. You've got 5 attacks, 2s, 3s, rend 1 damage on this weapon, so
spread them out if you want.
Actually, quite a good way of killing heroes.
Yeah, if you're touching 2 heroes, like I'd be 2 here, 3 there. Yeah,
spread
but like pop a triumph, like a 1 in 3 chance of killing anything that's taken 1 wound, no matter how many wounds it has remaining, is great.
Look out, Kragnos. You're getting shanked.
That'd be brutal, wouldn't it? So yeah, that's solid. That is better than it was as well by a long way.
Yeah, it was only 6, and she had less attacks, right?
Yeah,
she did have 1 attack on that weapon.
It was 1, and it was on a 6. And now she's got 5.
It was like rubbish. Now she's got 5.
So this is statistically 10 times better. Like exactly 10 times better than it was, which is an all right upgrade for anyone to get.
Sick. She's a wizard. Dark Mist is amazing. Pick a friendly Soulblight unit, Holy Within 12. Ignore negative modifiers. Don't care about positive. Positive's all good. We like it.
And on terrain, if you want, it's fine. Yep.
Yeah, it must be that toxic positivity of Neferata. It's like just get the bonuses, not the negatives. Then the command ability, it's just a -1 hit bubble, which she had before, but I can't stack it, which is good. But AoE, 12-inch -1 a hit, and then if her and Mannfred are going around as a double team, that's pretty scary.
Yeah. Yeah, I do think they hold hands pretty nicely, and the other thing is, not much is going to keep up with them. Love.
They can get along. 365 points.
Great.
Decent.
Yeah. Absolutely.
What I like is they're both like, Mannfred is like good, but she's good enough to be like, you're not like, it's just Mannfred. It's like they're both good.
Yeah. Which one, if you're going to take one generally, I know it depends on army, but are you going to land in the Mannfred court generally?
I think Neferata in the overall the Legion is better because of what her Legion does. Mm-hmm. But I like Mannfred as Mannfred. As a piece, as a utility piece. If you just look at the 2 scrolls, I like Mannfred more. Okay. But if you look at Legion of Blood, Neferata, and Legion of Night, Mannfred, I think it's close. It's like it's preference.
Nice, perfect.
I like both. I've got a Neferata. I just need a Mannfred. Then I've got the whole collection. Although Arcan, he's no longer here. Sorry,
it's fine.
Sorry, I got no BR. It's fine.
Vordhrai. Next.
Yeah, Prince Vordhrai. So I love Prince Vordhrai.
How many points is he now?
4, 5. I'm guessing. I don't know.
It was always quite a lot. Well, double check for him. But yeah, he wasn't. He wasn't cheap at all. The normal one's
435. I think he's 455.
455 is correct.
Woo!
So
you win a prize.
Convince me that he's 90 points better than Neferata.
Hang on. Well, he's on a zombie dragon, so
Good start.
He's a bit slower. He's got more wounds. Same save. He's got the hunger, but it's only D3. He gets the chalice. So in the hero phase, you can drink for D6, which the other vampires lost. It's got 4 attacks, freeze, rend 2, damage 2. But on the charge, if you've got the lance, which he does, you get +2 damage and an extra rend. So he's damage 4, rend 3.
Hard to sniff at.
No. Then he's also got the Breath of Shaiish, which is in the shooting phase. It's not a missile weapon, so you can run and do this. You can do it out of combat. You can do it something you're not fighting. Pick an enemy unit within 9. Roll a dice on a 3+, takes a number of mortal wounds equal to the Breath of Shaiish damage. Now, it used to be 6, D6, 3, D3, 1. Now it's D6, D6.
Then it goes 3, D3. So I don't think you're actually that upset until you've taken 10 wounds, because flat 3 is just still fine, right?
Yeah. I
you
think
you get that half the time. Anyway.
It's going to be it's going to be better than the D6 roll, like 60% of the time. No, like 33% of the time. So
legit 3 flat wounds is.
I think
fine.
the 6 flat being gone is a big deal.
I do too,
because that used to just
that was
be
a
like
dead character.
That's dead. And that's why it's gone, but it's annoying. He also gets quick blood, which is +1 to hit, +1 to wound. On himself, so 2s and 2s, so that's pretty good. I think if
value of a
Nagash
7
is in the army, knows the spell as well, so we could do it. Nagash could do it himself.
Okay,
so he is the fist of Nagash. So
7's a bit steep for something that's only can buff you. I think it's a good buff still, obviously, and it makes his profile pretty incredible. But hang around next to your Mortis engine or your Buffy Corpse cart or something to make that a bit more reliable.
Yeah, and like it's good, but his command ability is amazing in the right circumstance. So once per turn, you could pick another hero, not himself, within 12 that's within 3 of the enemy they can fight. So it gives you a hero phase fight. So
that's got some value. That's got a huge amount of value. Obviously, that's a little bit delayed because you have to be alive in the hero phase, and it has to be your turn, and you have to have another hero, and he has to be within range. But you can try and engineer that yourself, and it would be grim for your opponent. There's quite a lot of heavy hitters in the book. I
don't know if there's a list with Nagash and Vordhrai in it, but I think there would be because like Nagash is 975.
Yeah, Nagash he's always shifted his weight fairly well. Those two next to each other is horrible, isn't it?
Gotcha.
That's like that's like how I run Sigvald and a keeper. It's just
I wonder if you could run.
I've got like the children's version.
Yeah, maybe if you could run a Coven throne and then Nagash would know Shudder, and then he could hit a unit with Shudder, so they couldn't hit him. Then he could just charge it.
Oh god! But would he have so much damage that he just kills them anyway? Though?
Maybe, but it's amazing.
Well, we're gonna go on this journey together, viewers.
Does he get to know? Does he still know? He must know the spells of other death heroes still, right? Or has he got rid of it? He used to.
Worth double checking.
You can also. Oh no, I think he's lost it.
Oh.
I'm gonna have to read all his rules because I don't know if it's somewhere else. Oh, right, I can.
He can also attempt to.
No, I think he might have lost it. No.
Okay.
Oh, that's annoying.
More
because he used to know the spell of every wizard in his army, didn't he?
It tends to be a thing for all of those around 1,000-point models.
Oh, that's a shit. He knows the laws, but I was like, can you do spells off the Warscroll? So I'm sorry, viewers, I'm wrong. I know someone probably was frantically typing in the comment before we got there, so thanks for that.
Thank you anyway, people, if they're correcting us live. Always good. This is a big book. There are lots of interactions to go through. So
yeah, I haven't looked at Nagash much, so that's a shame, but it's still good. Like him and Nagash scary.
Yeah,
maybe a Vengorian Lord, Vince Vordhrai and Nagash sandwich. A menage a trois of death.
3 times 20 zombies and be done.
Yeah, then done. Corpse cart for the -1 to wound bubble and just crack on. You could probably fit it because it's like the 3 units of zombies is what, 365? Is that right? No, 345. Yeah, and then like you've got these corpse carts 80, so that's what 425, and then easy. Got points left over.
Yeah, a little bit.
Well, Vengorian Lord maybe. I mean, it's close, but yeah, you maybe.
Yeah. So how do you? I'm a bit more. I used to really like Vordhrai. a lot of it was because of that 6. And he is on a zombie dragon, and it's just, it's a solid zombie dragon. I think, if I remember correctly, his zombie dragon is slightly better. Like, it's got 1 more attack on the claws or something like that.
That's right.
I'll check if that's the
correct,
case.
Yeah.
Sweet. So,
he's got 1 extra lance attack as well.
Okay. So that's not bad, for some points, but you can't equip him how you wish, and equipping your characters in this book is really good fun. Never mind how good it is, it's just really enjoyable.
But if you're playing,
a lot of the time, it is quite good.
If you're playing Castello, right, and you've got 2 zombie dragons, and you haven't got a formation, you might as well make the other one Vordhrai, right? Because it's an extra, 20 points?
It's a bit, yeah. I think that's
you
a
get
good
the
way.
chalice, you get an extra attack on the dragon, you get extra attack on the lance, you get a command ability that lets the other dragon fight. You get, it's like you get the mortal wound breath. It's like, it's 20 points more, but it's worth it.
I'd say he's quite a specific piece now. He just used to be, just blob him in, it'd be great.
Yeah.
But I think you have to consider it a bit more now, especially with how good those Mortox are. Just an extra step of thinking is involved, I reckon. Yeah,
it's definitely a thing. Because, like, why take a Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon when you can take Neferata or Mannfred, and they're doing the thing that... I think the big deal for me, we might as well talk about him now, is the Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon. He doesn't have the reroll to hit command ability anymore.
Yeah, which used to be
doesn't
a lot
have
of what
the
he did.
chalice. And it's like 435 points is a lot.
Yeah. And he's a bit slower than Neffy and Mannfred.
I don't even think his damage output is it's comparable. I don't even think it's better. Like, it is technically, but
not enough to...
No. And obviously it is a hero. It's got a spell, which is okay. If you keep rolling 4s, you're golden, because you can just kill anything in the game, pretty much. Like, just keep rolling dice. Every 4 up is immortal until you stop, basically.
Yeah. I mean, Prince Vordhrai's got 1 cast as well, and the Mortox have got 2.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
Right?
Yeah.
It is a big deal. It's genuinely a big deal. Especially when they've got a good spell. And so I think you have to think about him, basically. If you're going hero heavy, Rat of the Hill, and you've got someone else who's frequently going to be close to him, cool. But if you look at how unspecifically good the Mortox command abilities are, they're not on this, his ability is not on the same page. Like, +1 to hit and wound for every Soulblight within 12. That's a fairly low floor, isn't it? Like, that's good for everyone. Yeah. So, I think he's a specific piece.
Yeah, I've actually started writing lists without Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon, which I never thought would ever happen, ever. But that's a good thing, because I've written lists with him as well, so it's not it's a good thing, because otherwise you're just like, oh, that's the only thing. So, yeah, I mean...
From one royalty to another, then?
Which one are you talking? Because I'm on Coven Throne next, but I can change it.
Oh, no, go for it. I was on Prince Duvalle.
I can do him. I'm on him next. So I've got him in a slightly different order, because I was trying to get it in the right order. I was faffing because I'm on my web browser.
Good.
So, Prince Duvalle, the model is just
really good.
The best model in the range, I think. For my opinion, he is literally doing the Iron Maiden singing to the hand pose.
Yeah,
it's like.
I can't say much about him that I don't like, apart from the fact that his teeth are a bit goofy. But, they have to be made obvious, so it's fine.
I like it. It's like the Nosferatu teeth. That's why I like it.
Yeah, so he is a bit well, he's just bestial and fighty all in all, isn't he? So
yeah, it's exceptional model. But anyway, Possessed Blade, 4 attacks, freeze, which damage 2, not D3, so it's okay. I mean, he's basically a vampire, but he gets a spell. He's got the Fiendish Law, which is became a unit within 6, add 1 to hit rolls. So it's like a bit short range, and he's on foot.
Yeah, he's got a 3-up save, but how many points is this dude?
Well, he comes 200 with the Crimson Court, because you can't buy them separately.
Okay, then.
And so I don't think he's worth it. You get a 5 wound unit and him, and all they really do is get some profile, and then they can heal D3, but the only model that can actually heal is Garath the Enforcer, because the others only got 1 wound each.
Yep. And they can move across terrain features like they could fly, but they don't move particularly fast. So,
I mean, they're okay if you like the models and you're like, well, I'm going to buy a Vampire Lord. But the problem is the Vampire Lord has got really good command ability.
yeah.
So for me, I would just use the Prince Duvalle model and go, well, he's just a normal Vampire Lord because I love the model.
Agreed.
Yeah.
And then you can take the lovely models from the Crimson Court and put them elsewhere if you want.
Like Byron currently has bats on his head. Ooh. We're in Bat Country. So I was going to talk about the Coven Throne. It's probably not where you are, but I want to talk about it.
Okay, let's go.
So we talked about it on the other show. This is a little hidden gem, I think.
It really is, and it's cute and it's fun.
I've tried to get one because I've got a Mortis engine, but I want to paint one of these because I've always wanted to paint one, but it was never like very good in the game, and I'm a bit.
I've probably got one, dude. I have too many to start collecting.
Well, if you do, let me know because I'm after trying to get hold of one. Start collecting Malignants, that allegiance that really is all over. No, we won't go there. So the attack profile, let's be honest, nothing to write home about, right? So it's got it does a little bit of damage, chips away. Doesn't really matter. Can heal. It's got the mortal wounds on the Spirit Host base. It's movement 14. I think it's a bit slower. It used to be 16, I think. I might be wrong. And then scrying.
I think it was frequently taken in a formation where it got +3.
Oh, okay.
So that could be what you're confusing it with.
Then the scrying pool. So once per turn, reroll 1 hit, 1 wound, 1 for an attack by this model, or 1 save for attack that targets the model. So
all right,
that's okay. I mean, like every reroll every turn, it might be useful, but I mean, it'd be better if it was to re-roll a cast roll, but there you go. So then it's a wizard. It's got 1 spell, but it's got Shudder. So it's on a 6. Picking a unit within 12. You roll 3d6. If the roll's a bit better than their leadership, then they can't. Then they cannot hit the Coven Throne, and they can't cast spells or use abilities against the Coven Throne until your next hero phase. So you can.
You could shut something off completely, and to break down the maths of that, 3d6 average is 10.5, so it's going to be 10 or 11. Your average roll is higher than the maximum bravery in the game. So this is a 6 to cast, fairly forgiving, and more than 50% of the time, even if someone was bravery 10, you'd be rolling higher than them. So this is pretty cool, actually. And
plus,
not
your
to
allegiance
mention,
gives you minus bravery if you're within range. So
yeah, not to mention it feels techy. I like it. I think it's a good way to use it. And you end up with this big unwieldy blob, and you just put it somewhere, and then it can be doing, game-changing stuff, just peering out from it while it stands in the way.
Is it better than a Mortis engine? I don't know. It's as expensive. It's 310 points. But it's a vampire, it's a wizard, it's a hero. But the command ability, now this is good, right? So you pick a Soulblight Gravelords unit wholly within 12, add 1 to hit, wound for attacks, but also get 1 to save.
There's another bit here which is really good, which is that you use it at the start of your hero phase. So you can charge something up, and it can go, it can go a move, run, and charge away and still be absolutely tall to the nines. And +1 to those 3 things is enough to make any scary unit or hero just incredible.
2 upside Vampire Lord, hitting on 2s, wounded on 2s, damage 4. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's the type of thing that feels like it should be a spell, because it feels like there should be a chance that it wouldn't go off.
But it just works, right? And they can't even unbind it.
Looking, I'm like, what's the casting value? The casting value is 1 command point, and that is a bargain.
Yeah.
So
and then you can shudder through the mirror at something else, pin it, and be like, well, you're not going to touch me because you can't.
Yeah, and then just run and stand there.
Then just there. Then you go, you sure go? Oh, I won the turn roll. Actually, you have another go. You double turn me. I don't care.
I absolutely love stuff like that. I think it'll be quite rewarding to use, quite techy. It'll catch people out, and it is fairly expensive. And Mortis engines are great, but I think it is definitely viable. It's not a concession to take one of these now, I don't think.
Oh, I think it's a good option. I find it making lists more than the Vampire Lord and Zombiedragon.
Yep.
Because with a Mortarch, let's get my Mortarch 2-up save. Yes, please. Particularly Mannfred. Oh, you want to charge me? No, see you later.
Yeah.
Are you going to shoot me? I ignore the first wound. Are you going to do defy mortals? I just -1.
That's a good point. Oh, yeah. The characters are fun in this book, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
So
We've done Prince Duvalle. We've done the Crimson Court. I've got the normal Vampire Lord now. It's a bit erratic for this for you, Byron. Sorry. Cover Friends 310 points if you wanted to know. So it's good. So normal Vampire Lord. So it's obviously like the same profile as Duvalle, but D3 rather than 2. But Crimson Feast. Use this command ability in the combat phase. Pick a Soulblight Gravelord Solar unit, whole within 12. Add 1 to the attacks of their melee weapons until your next hero phase. Huh? So you do it in the combat phase, but it stays until the hero phase.
All right. That's more convenient, if anything.
Okay. That might get errated because I think it's meant to be the combat phase, but that's not what it says. Wow. So you could use it. You could get 2 turns out of it with only 1 command point.
Fine.
If they ever go and you don't. So, okay, cool. But actually, summonable unit, if you're running Graveguard, they're slow anyway. The Vampire Lord flies, so you can move. The Graveguard can have a little pocket for the Vampire Lord. You can move the Graveguard, leave the pocket, and you can just fly over the top into it. So you don't have to worry about leaving a gap around the back to run through.
Thematic too.
And like 140 points, Invocation. You know, it's another wizard. Helps get your invigorating aura off. Just a good option. I mean, like, nothing groundbreaking. I mean, the Vampire Lord lost a lot for allies, so obviously the invocations used to be on the War Scrolls, and you used to be able to put them in Nighthaunt. You used to be able to heal Nighthaunt summonable with them, and he used to have a command ability, which is still plus 1 attack. It was actually, but it wasn't. It was death units. So obviously, like, some changes if you're a Nighthaunt player that is going to be disappointing. But as a Soulblight Gravelords player, if you're running Graveguard, it's a good option.
Yeah.
Because you're going to be there, and it's another hero. I
think the other thing is with Death, a lot of the time I look at this and I'm like, I will just find points elsewhere if I want a hero, and I'll have a bigger one. But it is quite nice to have someone small to sit in or around your units or babysit things, and this is one of the best options. So
the Vampire Lord made my list. When I did my Mannfred list, it made my list. I was like, do I take it? I was like, actually, it's so cheap for a hero, does okay damage, and then gives me a free up save, makes a big difference as well. Like,
yeah, and buffing your what's the regenerating spell called?
Invigorating aura.
Invigorate, yeah. Like, just having more dudes around for that, like, it's pretty easy to get to a hilarious bonus to that. So why not? Okay, then.
Talk about Mother and Monsters, the Lauka Vi.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Or the Mother and Nightmares, I should say, but the Avangori general named character. So 11 wounds, free up save again. Decent attack profile. 12-inch move, and quite a lot of damage output, really. With it's free attack for D6. It's
no high rend, so I think that's worth noting. It's fairly common in this book, actually. Like that, where you can get rend, it feels quite special, which is probably how it should be. But just be aware that when you're rocking up with 300 points of hefty unit, sometimes you look down and there won't be any more than one rend anywhere, even if it's got D6 damage or huge stuff like that going on.
Mate, I've played Bloodbound for years. Like, having rend 1 is a luxury. I wouldn't even if it's not 4s and 4s and you roll 10 dice and you do nothing, then it's not Warhammer, in my opinion.
Okay.
That's why I like skeletons. No, I'm kidding.
This one's not. It's not got bad damage output, but this scroll isn't about the output, is it? This is a synergy.
It's a bit of a weird scroll, right? So because it is a synergy piece. So you've got a charge. You do mortals on a 5-up. So fine. Nightmare's Miasma. So while an enemy unit is within 3 of any friendly model's with this ability, worse than the rend of that unit's melee weapons by 1. That's not models, that's units. So if you want to have a unit where she's just tucked in like a Graveguard blob, then they're going to fight the Grave. They're going to be worse than rend. They're not hitting her, but it doesn't matter. It'd be very hard to not be within 3 of her if you've positioned her well. Like, you know, and it's the same with the Vengorian, it's got the same rule, so it's like we're talking about the same thing here. Problem is, you've got this undeniable impulse. So if you roll a dice and you roll equal to or less than the number of the battle round, you can run and charge. So you kind of want that early, but it's less likely. Then later on, if you roll over the battle round, then you can't. You can cast spells and use abilities, but they're not the other way around. So it's like, I've messed that up, but you know what I mean. So, yeah. So if you roll equal to or less, you can run and charge, but you can't use command abilities, right? So you can cast spells. That's okay. Yeah, it's just command abilities. Okay. So that's okay, but then like the command ability you kind of want to use later, and the run and charge you want earlier, but the odds are it's probably the other way around.
Yeah.
But then it's still like a 50-50 on turn 3.
Yeah, neither are bad either. It's nice to have that as an option.
No.
It's just if you're tagged in combat, you're going to feel bad about it, aren't you?
Yeah, and like, the command abilities they've got different ones. They're quite good. So she got the hunger, she can heal, she's a wizard. Death's Downpour, it's on an 8. Then charge rolls for enemy units within 12 are halved. So it's like,
good.
That's amazing.
Really good.
You 3 away, you suddenly need a 6 to charge. Mm-hmm. Don't underestimate how powerful that is. That's amazing.
Yep.
Queen Amongst Monsters is a command ability. So pick an enemy unit on the battlefield until your next hero phase. Add 1 to hit rolls by melee weapons that target the unit. It's not
on the battlefield.
It's not range. There's no line of sight. It's just anywhere on the table, and everything hitting it gets a bonus.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Really good.
I am tempted to swap my Vengorian Lord up for her, actually, because, yeah.
I think we'll have a chat about how to get CPs in the army at some point, because they're going to be a thirsty resource, aren't they?
Oh, yeah, it's nice to be thirsty for CPs. And what's her, she's 290?
Yeah, I think she was something like that. I can check while you start talking about the Vengorian Lord.
So the Vengorian Lord is essentially the same. He's got 1 less wound. He's got a slightly different attack profile. He doesn't have the mortal wound impact hits. He also has the undeniable impulse. He's got a different spell. So Clotted Deluge is on a 6. Pick an enemy unit within 12. Add 1 to wound rolls. So wound rolls buffed is quite good.
She's 285.
285. He's 280, isn't he? So there's a 5 points difference.
Yeah, it's
that 5-point elimination coming in, making a difference.
It's
1995, man. That's the best list. It was a good year. So Festering Feast. Use at the end of the combat phase if any attacks made by a friendly Soulblight Gravelord unit in the phase destroyed enemy unit. If you do, you can heal D6 wounds allocated to that unit. Yeah, the same unit cannot benefit. So it doesn't say, use this command at the end of the combat phase if any attacks made by a friendly Soulblight Gravelord unit in that phase destroyed any enemy units. If you do, you can heal D6 wounds allocated to that unit. So you don't have to be in range of anything. It's just anyone on the table, right?
Yeah.
So if
you do have to have destroyed a unit, which...
Yeah. But if you've got like Mannfred or something and you kill something, like a hero or something,
yeah,
and he's the other side of the table, and you just go, well, I fancy a heal, I'll just spend a point and get D6 back.
D6
it's situational, but...
It's a very good option to have.
Yeah. I think the only problem is, like, with Lauka, or Lauka, I should say, you're probably thinking, I want to use a command ability, but there's a chance you can't use it. Whereas his is like, it's probably situational enough that if you roll the impulse and you can't use it, you don't care.
But you'd be really gutted if it could keep your dude from the brink of death. I really like the idea of these. Worsening Rend is incredible, but playing with stuff that unpredictable is a little bit frustrating.
Yeah.
I think they're quite nicely pointed. I think, and that's kind of like they're fairly pointed for, they should seduce you in as a value proposition, and they are meant to be a bit skitsy. So when you get bitten by it, it could feel a bit grim rather than thematic.
Well, you don't want to get bitten by a Vengorian Lord. I mean, look at him.
No, you don't.
He's the freaky one.
Well with it.
No one wants to be with the freaky one. So
who's next then?
Belladamma Volga. Say that 3 times fast. First of the Vikros. So she's a named character, obviously. General as well in a Vikros dynasty. She's got the hunger. Add 1 to casting, dispelling, unbinding. In addition, roll a dice for your allocated wound or mortal wound. If it's within 3 of Direwolves, on a 3+, the wound is allocated to one of those units instead. So you can bounce wounds like a Necromancer to Dwarves.
She does have 2 casts and 2 unbinds, by the way, because when you see that on someone who's got 1, it feels a bit poof, but she does have 2, so good start.
Yeah, and then she's got Lycan Curse. Pick any unit with 18, take D3 mortal wounds. If any models were slain, you can add a unit of Direwolves to your army. So you can basically do a nuke, put a Direwolf on. Sounds not... It's good. It doesn't sound that very good, but it is good.
It definitely is.
Then, under a Killing Moon... if the modified hit roll from attack by a melee weapon by a Gravelord unit wholly within 12 of the caster is a 6, it does 2 hits instead of 1. So, pretty amazing on a big unit of Graveguard. Just saying.
Really, really good. Anyone who's played with or against Mortec Guard will know how much that evens stuff out and how explosive it can get. And
but
obviously,
it's like all units within 12. So it's not like you cast it on a unit. It's just within 12 of her. It's like a bubble.
Yeah.
So that spell is amazing.
It is, yeah. She probably needs a bubble for protection as well, because 9 wounds with a 4-up save is not loads.
But she can bounce wounds, so...
If you got the right stuff around her. But I think there's going to be some very weird shapes on the battlefield with her. You could end up with, like, her in the middle, like, Graveguard blob here, something else here, and a little like tail of Direwolves out the back or some weird stuff. I think she's going to make you do some interesting things. I'm lukewarm on the model, but I like her set of rules quite a lot. Actually,
model at all. I would not going to run her because I don't like the model. And then she's got a command ability that allows Direwolves to pile in 6 and fight when they're within 6, which I don't think is worth a command point, but
no,
especially when Direwolves get a bonus to charge. It's like it might be very situational where you've retreated out and you need to pile into something to kill it on. Very rare you'd actually care.
Yeah,
I don't think it's ever going to happen. She's 200 points. She's pretty good.
I think for 200, but like she's a 9 wound 4-up save 2 cast wizard with +1 to cast and unbind. That's already not a bad proposition at that point.
Better than Prince Duvalle, right? So
yeah.
Radukar the Beast. So 12 wounds, 4-up save, got a decent attack profile. He's got 2 little shankers with him, which is where the piercing blades come from. Can run and charge, got the hunger. -1 to hit him, just generally. If you hit on a 6, he does 2 mortal wounds instead, so it's like a bypass. It's okay. Command ability, which is Call to the Hunt. So pick a friendly... so you basically pick one friendly model with this command ability that made a charge move. So if he charges, you get to add +1 attacks to melee weapons used by Soulblight Gravelords units wholly within 18 until the end of the phase.
Within 18 is bigger than other people. He does have a smaller base though, so actually it's kind of in the middle between 12 and 18. But
it's quite cool that he could charge, you pop that's +1. You've got the Vampire Lord +1. Maybe Mannfred goes in, pops something, that's another +1. Maybe you're in Legion of Night and he's just chilling. And also mustering how once per battle, just add a unit of 10 Direwolves to your army.
Hard to argue with that at all.
For me, he kind of fits in the same space the Vengorian Lord does. I think he's like 310, 15, something like that. 305.
It's got to be a decent amount because he comes with
because the Vengorian Lord's 280, he's like in the Coven Throne's 310. He's in that bracket, and I think that because you get to add 10 Direwolves, he's okay in combat. He runs and charge, but you've also got the command ability. 315, yeah. So that's pretty good. He's only got a 4-up, not a 3-up. He's got slightly more wounds. He's a bit slower. I don't know. If you play in Vikros, maybe it's too techy because you've got a charge to use that command ability.
You're spending points on a hero that isn't a wizard.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah,
right. And that I think any time you do that in this book, you have to justify it, and they should probably it's either got to fit your theme or they have to be cheap. So if he fits for your theme, as Ross said, great.
I think he's that sort of model that you'll play him if you like him, but I think there's other options that that blow him out the water for the choice for those points. Because I'd rather buy a normal Vampire Lord to go +1 attack, which is guaranteed. I don't need to charge the Vampire Lord. It's a lot more controlled. It's cheaper.
It's pretty nice to know that at any point in the game, if you didn't die, you can drop 10 of something fairly fast in a place of your choosing. That is a good ability. Like, you can't underestimate that at all. But
it's
wizard.
Solid. But if it was a wizard, it would be a bit of a better option, I think.
I think
him, Radukar the Wolf. So foot version. Basically the
he's
same.
On the big one, wrapped up in the big thing as well, isn't he?
Yeah, he's got the same command ability, but he's only movement 5. I don't see it. I don't know. He's from the Cursed City. You can buy him separately, but how many points is he? I don't know what he is.
Check. Let me check.
Weird. But I don't rate him at all. That might just be me being a bit.
Doesn't have points.
He does. It's just very hard to find him because he's tucked in.
I can see him. He's got literally a blank point section.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So all of the Gorslav, the Gravekeeper, Radukar, the Wolf.
Group, doesn't he? Oh, yeah.
He's 755 points. He's a ripper. Don't touch him.
Group. I don't know why they sold him separately then. Okay, anyway. Yeah, okay. I thought you could buy him separately, but it's the Beast is separately, isn't it? So, well, we should probably talk about the Cursed City, shouldn't we?
Should we blob these and then talk about them as a concept? Because you think they're
they
shouldn't be written off, right?
Yeah, I'm not going to go through each scroll in by because we've got a lot to cover and there's a lot to talk about. So what I'm going to do...
Your concept of taking the Van Blob, then.
So with the Van Blob, you get Gorslav, Radukar, Torgonis, Watch Captain Halgrim, the Night Guard, Vaskir, and Vikros Bloodborne. So basically, you're getting 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 units, which you've got 4 of them are leaders, right? So it's using up 4 of your hero slots. Mm-hmm. But what you get is pretty good. So Watch Captain Halgrim, he gives you Disciplined Advanced Command ability. So you can pick up to 3 Deathrattle units wholly within 18. Till the end of the phase, you can declare that any of these units will run. Do not make a run roll for them. Instead, add 4 to the move. So it's still a run. So it's like, you still wouldn't be able to charge from that. So maybe not so good. But
he's also one of the coolest models ever.
He is.
Ever.
He is cool, but not that cool. So maybe not. The Vikros Bloodborne.
Not a wizard.
No. But he's a Wight King, isn't he? So the Vikros, 3 attacks, freeze, Rem 1 damage D3. They've got a 5 up ignore, 3 wounds each, movement 10. You get 3 of them. It's pretty good. Like, they're okay. Torgonis the Chamberlain, he's a wizard. Start of your hero phase, if you win 3 of Radukar the Wolf, roll a dice on a 4+, get a command point. So it gives you command point generation.
There's not much of that, so
no,
that's quite good.
He's got a 4-up bounce save, and he's also got a bolt, which is subtract 1 from hit rolls made by the unit until your next phase. So what's quite nice about that, he's got the access to the Law of Death Mages as well, but that's another spell that does a -1 that you can stack with like Fading Vigor, or is it Overwhelming Dread, the one that's -1 to hit. So you could be -2 to hit. It gives you command point generations. He's okay. I think he's pretty good. I've got him so good he's got him twice. You got the Night Guard. They obviously got +1 attack if they're in range of the wolf. They're okay. There's 2 of them. They're there to be ablative wounds for him, basically. Now, Gorslav the Gravekeeper. Okay, so he has basically the bounce to Deadwalkers, but he's also got a command ability, which is the end of your movement phase, pick 1 summonable Deadwalker unit that's been destroyed, and a new replacement half the models is added to your army within 9 of this model, more than 9 from enemies. So it gives you a way to recycle a Deadwalker unit without worrying about rolling in the battle shock phase, and it's in your movement phase. So it's quite nice.
The unit's just good, yeah. But like, if you think about where that would be on the battlefield as well, that's quite a decent, but he could just be backfilling your board pretty nicely.
So if you had like a unit of 60 Deadwalkers, and then you bring back 30, and then it's just, you could do it naturally on the roll of a 5-up in your battle shop. If you don't make the roll, you can just make it happen with a command point. But because it's anywhere from him, hold within 9 of him. So basically, it's better than being tied to grave sites.
Yes.
So he's like another summoning point. So it's like, it's a bit techy, but I don't think it's like a terrible option.
No.
I know it doesn't sound too sexy, but for like 755 points, you're getting like Radukar for the command ability attack. You're getting all those units. You're getting those techie heroes. You're getting the command point generation. As long as you can give up the 4 hero slots, I don't think it's a bad option.
Yeah, there's going to be some armies where it makes sense, I think.
Yeah, I mean, like if you take like, I don't know, like Belladamma, then you take another hero, and then you just load your army up with summonable Deadwalker, Wolves, and Graveguard. I think it'd be a solid army. It'd be interesting. Yep. I know saying it's the best army in the world, but
it looked damn good. Although it was incredible.
So I'm going to do a little bit of a switcheroo on you now. I don't know what the order in the book's gone out of the window.
Yeah, so that's all right.
I was going to talk about battle line units.
Should we do Lady Annika and
Ritza? We can do
Ritza.
Those. Yeah. So let me.
While we're with the
Vic Cross,
like
that makes more sense. That'll help the timestamps. I've set that wrong. I don't know. It's Virkos. Virkos.
It's all good. This book wasn't made for easy pronunciation. No. It's fine.
So the Rat Prince, 95 points. He's got a decent attack profile. -1 to hit him in melee, and then if he's dead, then at the end of your movement phase, you roll a dice on a 4+, he's set up again. There is a question: can you have multiple? Obviously not. Let's be honest. Let's be sensible.
Yeah.
But I think it's pretty cool to have a recycling vampire.
He is potentially annoying, and that is a good for your opponent, and that is a good reason to take anything. He's kind of interesting. He's definitely unique, and he doesn't cast, but he falls into that bracket of being cheap enough, because he is pretty cheap, isn't he? That you don't particularly worry about losing the cast for his price, and he's still a hero, which could be useful.
You could get to use him like 3 times, like
and
he's still damage D3.
Oh yeah, he's not bad at all. 6-inch move, 4+ save, 6 wounds. Some stuff.
Lady Annika, exactly the same combat profile. She's got a 4-up negation, and then at the end of a phase, if any models were slain, you can heal all wounds allocated. I'm just like, nah.
Yeah.
She 105. She's more expensive.
So, never mind. Moving on.
Thanks for coming. Necromancer, 3-up bounce now, not a 4-up, so it's better. Van Hels, still Van Hels.
They're still good.
Yeah, it's great.
And better now.
Yes.
Well, sorry, not better now, but
Van Hels is better as a better spell because now it's persistent to your next hero phase. So if you do it in your turn and then they charge you in their turn, you can still do it. So it's better. Obviously, it's Death Mages, it's a Necromancer. They're 125 points. If you're running Graveguard, he's auto-include. If you're heavy Deathrattle, probably auto-include as well, because their healing mechanic is buffed by Van Hels. I'm a big fan of the Necro. He's always been one of my...
Do you ever take 2? Or is it just always 1?
Maybe if you want Lore of the Death Mages twice, but probably just 1.
Yeah, switching to Mortark at that point, I guess.
Well, if you take another one, like you're looking at taking a Vampire Lord or a Wight King out of the equation.
Yeah.
Speaking of Wight King, on the steed, movement 12, save of a 3-up. Decent lance, does some mortal wounds on the charge. Lord of Bones, obviously this is going to get FAQ'd. Use the command ability in your hero phase. Pick a Deathrattle unit, hold it in 12. Until the end of that phase, you can reroll hit rolls of 1. It'll be the combat phase. Obviously, that's the wrong phase. You get to reroll 1 for attack rolls. So it's okay. And obviously, makes Graveguard battle line if he's your general. And if you're running any of the bloodlines with Vordhrai or Belladamma or Mannfred or Neferata, or they're all generals in addition. Lauka and then Vengorian. So like you get to have 2 generals. 3-up save, 7 wounds. It's pretty tanky.
Yeah, it is.
He's not a wizard, but he still gets invocation healing. 2 units, same as the Necro. So he's pretty good. I love the model. I will be getting one. He's one in my list on the steed. I think he's good. Movement 12 as well, which is decent.
Yeah.
Just to deliver mortal wounds and then hit stuff with a D3 damage lance is, you're not going to worry about charging into combat with him because he's pretty resilient.
Yeah, smallish base as well, and he's probably going to be blobbed by a load of other stuff. So,
Wight King on foot, same, slower, cheaper. I prefer the one on horse.
Yeah.
If you're shaving points though, and you're just doing it for the battle line,
8 inches move is a big difference, though, isn't it?
Yeah. Plus the no mortal wounds on the charge, and he does
Less
slightly different
wounds.
wound. Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
yeah. He's still cool. I'm fairly ambivalent to it. Should we get onto battle line now?
Yeah, let's do it.
Deathrattle, Skellies.
Okay. All right. So as we've discussed,
no reach.
no spears.
Reach for those spears. No.
Reach is an issue.
Yeah, because if you want a big unit, I think they come in 10s. Like they come in a box of 20, right? And
Yes.
zombies come in a box of 20.
Yeah.
When you buy zombies, they come as 20. When you buy skeletons, they're 10s.
Well, I'm glad. So I presume they were going to be 20s.
Right. Okay.
So I'm kind of glad you can take them in 10s. I still like cute pockets of them. It's just a bit of a shame. I don't think they scale well. I don't think you put a lot of points into them, do you?
No, they used to. The only... I mean, they're summonable, so you've got all the stuff for summonable. They can come in the graves. There is an argument that running, I think 40 is your max. Is that right? Or was it 30?
40.
So there is an argument. No, 30 is the max.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So there is an argument that you go, okay, so I've got 30 of them. They've got a 5-up save. You get to reroll 1s on the Deathless minions because it's standard. Yeah. They just don't seem... It's really weird because when we sort of got to see these, they were really cool. And like other stuff wasn't as good, and other stuff's kind of been brought up, and they just don't... I like the Skeleton Legion rule. I really like it. But it's got lots of limitations. So it's when you pick the unit to fight, roll a dice for each model unit that was slain in that phase. So it's not just dead models. If it was just models that weren't in the unit for the beginning of the game, like if you just like, well, I started with 30, they shot 20 off, I charged with 10, then 10 stood back up. That's a lot cool, but they don't get that.
Yeah.
It has to die in the combat phase
before
you fight. And once you've fought, you've lost the opportunity. Once you're out of that phase, any that die next turn, those models you can't roll for again because they've already been killed.
It might just be the best option for you to fight first with the unit, and that protects you more than getting the stuff back. So it's a little bit awkward. I think 10 of these against
a lot. Like 3s and 4s.
I think 10 of these against 10 other crappy things is, they have the opportunity to grind a bit better. But it's only in protracted combat against crap that I think they have any opportunity to shine, really.
I was trying to think, like, if I'd buy 30 and on the first turn just, like, be really aggressive with them, put them up through the graves and put them in the middle of the table as, like, chaff, hold the objectives, let them charge me, fight back, try and heal back and last.
A bit, yeah.
Then when
do some annoying stuff with tails and... Yeah.
Well, not even if you don't need to, but you could just blob over a grave site. You get a death save because the grave site gives you a death save.
Yeah.
You're up the table. You're on objective. They charge you. They kill. You got 30. They kill 20 of you.
They've got a better save than zombies.
Then you go. You're re-rolling your 1s on your death save. You're getting a death save for the grave, but you've got a 5-up armor save. You attack. Half of them stand back up again. Maybe they don't take the objective off you unless they commit a lot. Then if they wipe you out, you roll a dice, and if on a 5-up, you get them back anyway. Well,
that's how I would be using them. I think they've got a very narrow role.
Yeah.
Just from how their mechanics of that ability work and how they are, it's very different to getting just D3 models back a turn or whatever as well. It's a very different mechanic. So left on their own, you might have to fight first, and then just a load of them die, and you've got 2 dudes left, and you feel a bit upset.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, they're okay. I like them. I like the models a lot. I like the models a lot. I was wondering whether I could just use them as Graveguard and then just be like with a Graveguard.
Change their hats or something.
Yeah, maybe. I like the hats though. Zombies. Okay.
All right. Is this worth a timestamp in the video on its own for just how good these guys are?
Well, we kind of mentioned it on the live show. Basically, everyone's been on the internet, right? So they know. They do mortal wounds on a 6 to hit. Then every time you kill a model on a 2+, you add a zombie. That doesn't say a slain. You just add a zombie, so you can go above your starting strength for the moment. It might get FAQ, don't know. The biggest thing though is you fight if you're within 6. And you can pile in 6, so you can run, and then they can't hit you. You could fight with something else first, and then you could just go, right now I'm going to pile them in here. You can also retreat and pile into something. And because they're 115 points for 20 wounds, they don't have a save, but then, like, it's so cheap, you don't really care. They're chaff, right?
Yeah.
So,
well, they are, but I think this is one of those things where, in practice, they're going to feel incredible. You'll be like, well, if I put these anywhere, they're just going to get wiped out. And so I think this is why Graveguard are going to get, I think that's why there's a discussion about Graveguard or even Blackknights because there's always been this thing in Vampire Count's armies where you've got these super tooled up heroes and then you need something to support them, which often ends up being other heroes because the nature of the rest of the book.
Oh, they're max 40, by the way. I thought they were max 60, but they're not. They're 40. So, yeah, just noticed that.
Yeah, but they are incredibly flexible. So I see them as nothing other than a technical piece that is going to, disintegrate the moment it's touched. Yeah,
and like you've got the argument if you've got a corpse cart that could be -1 to wound, they get +1 save. They're not going to hang. They're not going to stick around, right? So that's the only reason I think the skeletons might edge it. In certain cases, because I don't know the resilience.
Getting shot at,
Yeah.
I know they can run and stuff, but just shooting, it's always been an issue for a death army. Like, it's not going to go very well for them, is it?
If they're shooting the zombies, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Don't shoot my big vampires, but shoot the zombies. That's fine. You want them to stand objectives and cap. Maybe it'll come to a point if you're running like Deathrattle heroes with buffs and the skeletons end up being good because they're just more resilient bodies. But it's just the cost difference. Like, like 40 zombies
they're a
cost,
bargain.
what, 230 points? And
then it's a bargain.
30 skellies is what, 255? Is that right? To do the maths right? Yeah. Yeah. So it's 85 each, isn't it? So it'll be 240 plus 15, 255. So you're paying an extra 25 points to get, but you're getting 10 less wounds. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're getting a 5-up save.
Don't get magic piling.
But you don't get magic piling, you don't get mortal wounds, you don't get to get models back on a 2+ when you kill stuff.
Yeah. Those mortal wounds are on a hit roll as well. I know Russ has already said it, but just in case someone missed it, it's on a hit roll.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like it should be on a hit roll.
I really think it should be on the wound roll.
That is good.
Like if it was the wound roll, you'd be like, well, they hit on 5, so that's pretty crap, so you're not going to do many mortals. Therefore, you're not going to kill many stuff, therefore, you're not going to come back. But but now it's worth going twice with these or, just being outside so they can't even hit. Mannfred goes in, stabs stuff to get +1 attack. Your Wight Kings or whatever's gone in with his Vampire Lord Zombiedragon, another +1 attack. Then they've piled in 6.
Great optional finishes. You can just have these sat back. If you need to chuck them in to finish something, something might survive on 3 wounds, and then you have the option to be like, well, this will probably do it. That's fine.
So they're what, 4s, +3 attacks with the Vampire Lord command ability, going twice with Van House. Mortal wounds, just like pile in 6. And the good thing is, you pile into 6 something else, you kill it. You might be able to pile in 6 into something else afterwards when you go again. So I think Van House keys off if you've been free. So you still need something within free for Van House. But it's. I think like if skeletons had a 2-inch reach, I would be less. I'd be less clear cut.
Completely. 20 is awesome then. 20 buffable dudes with a 2-inch reach with baby bases, a better save. I don't know why that went because it's spears, but
I think it's because it got mixed weapons. I don't know, but why is the lance a 1-inch reach? Apparently the bite of a zombie is the same reach as a lance. I'm just going to keep winding up about this. I know we're not. I know it sounds like we're being overly negative. Not. It's just one of those things that you like. It's like a missed opportunity. I think that if you get to the.
I've been annoyed about the Reach in the Vampire book for like 6 years.
I think like.
Or longer.
It's like one of those things that like it's such a little thing. Unless you play the faction, you don't really notice it, and then it's like it bugs me.
Yeah. It affects your unit choice. But I think if they had it, they would be. If they had it, skeletons would be in once at least in every list I wrote, but they don't, so they aren't.
Yeah, and I think that's...
Sexy skeletons next.
Yeah, we'll go for sexy skellies. So
Graveguard.
Yeah, we'll go for Direwolves actually. Let's go Direwolves.
Okay.
Next because they're battle line, right? So
you always used to run these, right? You always had 3 units of 5. They're now not in 5s. So how does that change how you feel about them?
Well, zombies are almost so good that, like, it's
and they're not slow now, are they? Because run them. But
no.
Wolves are vanilla fast, so.
No, and like their movement 10, 2 wounds, 5 up save is basically the same. They're dead walkers, so they get buffed by the corpse cut's always the same. They've got slavering charge, so +1 hit and wound on the charge. It's basically the same. They're 135 points for 10 though, whereas it used to be 60 points for 5. I think they went up to 70 points for 5 when they got adjusted because everyone hated.
That's not a bargain per wound in comparison to cavalry in general, right? Like there's some cavalry out there that are laughing at that have got people on top that hit fairly well. That
you're getting 20 wounds though, not 5. So you're getting 20 wounds for 135 points with a 5 up save.
Yeah, but they're not quite just more crap, but they're close.
And they're movement 10. But then the thing is, you think about like skellies, right? So skellies are 85 points for 10. So that's 10 wounds for 85 points. So to get 20 wounds, that's 170 points. So it's 35 points more. Your movement 4
versus 10.
And you don't get +1 save from a corpse cart. So wouldn't you just run Direwolves?
Yeah, very possibly. Vanilla speed's good as well, just for touching objectives first turn.
Most of my lists have a unit as a screen that can run up and touch the objectives on turn 1 and just push people back.
Big screen as well, isn't it? 10 of them now.
Yeah, especially put them sideways. Yeah.
It's like a 4-foot screen.
Yeah, it's a big screen. I like them. I mean, like, they're good. Should we talk about then Graveguard?
Yeah, let's do it because both you and I think that these are pretty cool, actually.
So I want a unit in the army that does something, right? Like, that
isn't just better than crap.
Yeah, and like I think in the old book, like that's why you saw Grimghast Reapers. That's why people weren't, But I think zombies, they've got a sweet spot with zombies, and I think they're in a good place. I think they might be a little bit overcooked, but points will sort that out. Like thematically, fine. Yeah. Skelly's probably a little bit undercooked. Graveguard, I think, in a really nice spot. So you've got choice between White Blade and Great Weapons, right? So if you've got a White Blade and Shield, you get +1 save.
The 4+ save, which is good.
If you've got the Great Weapon, they're damage 2 though, but you only wound on a 4.
And of course, the reach isn't affected by any of these.
That's great. We don't want big reach, Byron. They're slow and skelety and shambly. Maybe that's why. I don't know.
Great big 2-handed halberd. It's fine. Okay.
They are actually quite small, the Great Weapons that they've got. But it's certainly smaller than a lance and bigger than a zombie bite. If the unmodified wound roll for an attack is a 6, it does a mortal wound in addition. So that's nice because it's in addition. Obviously, rend 1 on the attacks, 2 attacks each as well. Yeah. You can reroll 1s for deathless minions. A musician means they can just have a 6th charge, so guaranteed, so you don't fail charges.
Good. Really good, really good ability.
Yeah, and for me, Graveguard are summonable, so you could put them in the graves. You can add models back in the unit. There's a lot of buffs that key off summonable.
They may as well have keyword buffable right in this book.
Yeah, I mean, they're not Deadwalkers, but they've got Deathrattle, so there's way to buff them. Now, 140 points for 10. I think a unit of 30 is 420.
Mm-hmm.
That is a decent unit because it can come back on a 5+ with 15. You can heal it.
Disgusting.
It's just that is just
go up from the grave. Go up the graves, right?
Yeah. And
Hello.
like if you're going to buff
in the
a
middle
unit,
of the table.
like I sort of the list, and they had like +3 for attacks. It's 5 attacks on models at damage 2. You can get pluses to wound quite easily in this army. You know, like Mannfred's aura is +1 to hit, +1 to wound. There's the, I think, Clotted Deluge, which gives you +1 to wound. You know, you're hitting on 2s, wounded on 3s, wounded on 2s and 2s you can get to. You can be defensible. You can have a corpse cut -1 to wound against you. You can have worse than the rend. You can have +1 save if you want to use tactical insight, because I think that's a unit. So it's +1 to hit, +1 to wound, +1 save. So you can buff big units. So they're just a solid choice. If you want to combat,
they do something. Yeah, basically. You summed it up really nicely.
Van Hels as well. Go twice.
Oh yeah.
Movement 4's a bit slow, but
pop up.
You can pop up. You can, so it's not too bad. So if you're going to be aggressive, you can like pop them up mid-table. Run your army up behind it if you're going first.
Look at their saves with the grave sites and stuff. So
yeah, they get deathless. So
how do you equip these then? In what situations? Because I do think each of them has its place, right? Is it if you can buff their attacks, you give them great white blades, but if they're more a resilient blobby piece, you give them the 3s and 3s option, or so they can have the better save? I
lean great weapons because there's a lot of way to buff attacks. I think you don't care too much about defense because you've got death save, you can come back, you can heal. You don't want to be wiped out, but I don't think it's that important. And I think as well, it's a tough one. I think I lean great weapons.
Great weapons and larger unit rather than, like 20 with the other option. You'll go 30 great weapons. And
they're both good. I mean, I think the white blade, if you don't want to invest, if you want to have 2 units of them, you can't buff both of them because you don't have the command points, right? So it might be better to have 2 20s with blades, or you go 1 30 with great weapons, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It'll be worth to play, but I think if you want a resilient tanky unit, I think you just take skellies. A bit of an oxymoron if you want to, but they're not that resilient and tanky. But it's the healing that them coming back is good,
and they're cheaper. So you get more for the same value. Yeah, I can see that. So
also fits into the Deathrattle formation.
Yeah. So you're fairly hot on those. Is that everything to do with them?
Blackknights?
They just take million buffs. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about these?
Well, they're now skeletons on horseback, not wights, right? So I used to run Black Knights were always wights on horses. They had the cursed blade. I wish they were like Graveguard and they were elite cavalry rather than chaffy cavalry. Because basically the issue I have with it is that you've got a lot of chaffy cavalry, fasty units, fellbats, things like that. So they're not really competing for any space. I would have liked not a Blood Knight, but not a skeleton. Yeah. And they're kind of like a skeleton. They've got a 2-inch reach on their lance though. Oh man.
The one unit it doesn't matter with, because oh well.
Oh, sorry, I just noticed.
It's fine. I hadn't even noticed. I just presumed they'd have one and it's there to tease me.
Now, I don't think they're that bad. Right? If you're playing Legion of Blood.
Abilities that bring back models on these, not too bad.
You got 2 wounds. Okay. So I think they're 120 points for 5. Am I right?
Check.
Or am I wrong?
I think they were 120.
Yeah, 120.
Perfect.
So movement of 12, that's fast. Faster
that is
than
good.
a direwolf.
More than dogs, yeah.
They do D3 mortals on a charge on a 2+.
So that's a nice little thing to have and does help their cause a bit.
Plus their battle line in Legion of Blood.
Okay, also good.
So maybe you can run 3 units of 5 in Legion of Blood, and you're getting your battle line, and it's just they're fast screening units that can do mortals that you can bring back.
Yeah,
because if you have 5 of them, and then they die, and then you roll your summonable unit comes back, and you put 3 back on the table, or it might be 2, whatever you round it. I don't know. I think it's round up, but then they charge. You're still going to do D3 mortals.
Yeah.
So it's they're not as bad, but they're not exciting. Right?
I feel like both these and the Bloodknights could have been 15 or 20 points more and a bit better for what each of them is, and that would have bulked out the saggy middle of the book, because there's a definite it's like character power level, poopy troopy level, and then there's not much in the middle, which is why I quite like the Vargheists as battle line, because I think they actually behave like they're in the middle of the group rather than being at the top or the bottom.
Yeah, but I think as well, like, although like I think you need to run the battle line, like, because I just think you need the bodies, and like zombies are so good for the points. It's like that you don't even feel hard done by running like 115 points on 20 models. Like,
yeah, I could definitely see myself going like 40 zombies, 20 skellies, like taking a smattering of the different available options within the book, and taking more than 3 battle line as well. I think.
Well, yeah.
I've got some points spare. I'll have another unit of dogs, or I will put 5 Black Knights in because they'll fulfill this or they'll fulfill that. So
you can actually make a horde army that's disgusting, like, because you can put a lot of bodies down for not much points that can do mortals. So they do something. They're not. It's not like you're putting goblins down. You know what I mean? Like, or skeletons. I mean, no, I'm kidding. But the skeletons aren't that bad because they've got a good armor save for the cost, right? 5-up save is not awful, because they used to have crypt shields. So if you're a rend one, they got no save, and they got +1 unless you had rend. So it's like they weren't.
If you're debuffing the opponent, the skeletons are actually fairly survivable as well. You just need like 1+ debuffs on the unit that's hitting them, like -1 rend or anything like that, and they're going to feel a lot more for their points. And you're not short on debuffs in the book, but maybe don't go gung ho first turn, pop them up, and expect everything to work out well. It is nice to have something though that can jump up into the middle of the table here while your fast things run up and then do their debuffing around them. So I think there's a lot about this book that I don't think people will be able to say with proper authority until they put it on the table, because a lot of the scrolls read worse than they will behave, or potentially better, actually.
Yeah, and I think zombies, people realise that they are just like, they get a one and done. They go in, fight once, then they're dead, and they don't do anything.
Having played Savage Orcs a lot, it's really depressing when someone with, that's got the type of shooting that you normally write off, here's 40 shots from goblins, and you're like, well,
that's half my unit dead.
Yeah, I just like, ouch. And they're like, I'm burning my triumph on this, and you're like, cool. You're like, buff your crap, guys. And then 27 dudes die out of 40, and they did literally nothing. They didn't even screen.
Mortar crawlers just bombarding them and going there and just dying. It's like, no.
Yeah. Flamers of Tzeentch would be a grim one. They'd be 2s to hit. Yeah. There's plenty of things that would wipe them out. So yeah, I guess is that a segue to the potential middle tier stuff in the book?
Should we talk about Bloodknights as we were on cavalry quickly, as I got them on the screen?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
So their lance is 1 inch reach. It's blade as well, so they might have a sword. So that's
I can see that theirs makes sense. Also, it's very unlikely that you take 10 of them and the reach actually matters.
Yeah.
So
3 wounds, 3-up save, 10-inch move.
195 points.
I quite like these. Like, they get +1 damage on the charge. I don't know if you'd run them outside of Castelli, but because I think the problem is if you run like 5 Bloodknights, it's like if you run 2 units of 5, you might as well just run like a vampire Vengorian Lord or something like that. Or
I actually really disagree on this one, because I think they have a place in the army, and it's just not the place they should have, but it is a place that you need. And they're not slow. They have a 3+ save, and they've got quite a lot of wounds in one place, and they have a fairly all right. It's basically like elite foot troops just arrived faster. I feel with them. If you debuff, exactly the same thing that I was saying about skeletons, if you debuff someone's, like typical elite unit, and they're fighting these guys, and you get rid of one of their rend or something, I think these end up making a fairly decent tar pit, which just seems to go against everything that Bloodknights should have ever been. Right?
Well, they can go in charge and be impactful, then be resilient when they come down to charge.
Exactly that. Do 80% of their damage in turn 1. And then just hold on to that unit for longer than they should have.
Do you think? Would you think 2 5s then? Is that something you put in your list?
Oh, definitely. And I think they would properly catch people out in terms of resilience. Ironically, having run Dragon Princes, you always expected them, unless they were going into absolute crap, when they would muller them on the charge and you toot the horn off the Dragon Rider and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is, again, it's really comparable to this. People were expecting them to hit hard and then die, and they did the opposite of that. They hit, a strictly average level with not as much rend as you'd like, and then they just stayed there for forever. And I think that's what these guys will do on a table, and I think that's something that nothing else in the book does, basically. At a more than 1, it's not a character value.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, maybe. I mean, they are vampires, and it's just not being summonable. I don't know. Maybe. I think they're cool. Like, you definitely could find a place for them. I think it makes more sense in Castelli, but maybe in Legion of Blood you do as well. I don't know, but
yeah, they've got that little weird stuttery thing, which I guess we should cover. Their wounds that they do to people, like creepy hex race.
So
it
in your movement
really, does it?
Phase, if these units are within 3, it can make a move. If it does so, it can pass across other models with a wounds of 3 or less that are not mounted. But if they fly, if this is made a normal move, so after it's made a move, roll a dice for each enemy unit that has any models passed across on 2+6 D3 mortals. Now, I think the way that's worded is that counts as a retreat. So if you move out of combat, so if you're in combat with something and you move into it and then back out, because as soon as you make a normal move, I think you've got to finish outside of 3.
I think there's some clarification needed here, but it feels like it should be that they can, stutter against the thing that they're touching, get into some extra damage, then charge it to get the bonus of having the charge again.
Yeah. And I think that's the intention, but I'm not sure it's worded correctly.
Yeah.
So
that would, they're better on the turn they charge, so that would make them quite nice.
Because you get a +1 damage, and then you're doing a bit more extra wounds while you start trampling, and it'll make them a little bit more grindy.
Yeah, I think so. So that's how I'd be running mine.
Wait and see.
We'll see.
We'll see. I don't know.
I just think there's nothing else in the army that covers non-hero based decent resilience.
No, you're right.
And solid move. So
yeah,
it's unique.
They are good. I mean, I see that. Like, sometimes I'm just buy another hero. Like, if you got like 400 points for 2 units of Bloodknights, why don't you just put a Zombiedragon in? It's like, or a Mortark. It's like,
yeah,
it could be Mannfred, it could be Neferata, it could be a Coven throne and a corpse cart. It's like I just kind of think like I'd rather lean into combat hero vampires and like a Vengorian Lord and change, or and I don't know. Like, maybe I'm wrong. If you're
going to be buffing something in your circumference, it's nice to have 5 guys with multiple profiles to sex up a bit as well. On the charge, you can definitely make them nuts.
They're not bad.
Yeah, on the charge, you can make them nuts as well with this army if you want.
They're definitely not a bad option. I just don't know if I'm like, they're not like, definitely always have Bloodknights.
Yeah, agreed.
But they're not, I'm not saying they're not good. They're good.
So much stuff in the book, I'm like, I could see having one of those in an army. I could genuinely see you running a army without a single duplication in it, and that not being a bad thing.
Yeah, it's like the like, I've got one of everything and it actually works. Like,
yeah, definitely.
I think the internal balance of the book is spot on.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't be having this type of discussion if it wasn't, right?
No. I mean, at least the good thing about having lots of war scrolls is that we still need to talk about them, because it's not like, oh, well, don't worry about that one, don't worry about that one.
Yeah, it's crap.
Well, apart from maybe Lady Annika is probably the only failure in the book, I'd say. But it's new, and it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Bloodseeker, Palaquin, and Mortis Engine. Should we cover those?
Yeah, let's do it, because these are... well, yeah, you take these. This is your bag, isn't it? In your type of army, this is the type of thing you like. So
yeah, so the Wail of the Damned, right? So I like this a lot. So it's a shooting attack. And the way it works is that you roll a dice for each enemy unit within range on a 4+ to take D3 mortal wounds. They've both got the same thing, but it's a 12-inch bubble when you're not hurt. Now, it's a shooting attack, so you can move and do it, and they move 14. So that's quite a big threat.
It is.
The Bloodseeker Palaquin, I think, is 280 points, and it's a hero and it's a wizard, and it's got a spell which could do mortal wounds.
Mm-hmm. The Viper is essentially a normal vampire, so it's got a bit of alright damage there. 4 attacks, 3s and 3s, rend 1 damage, D3, and then some spirity attacks that do mortals on 6s. So
this is like your cut price vampire. I think it's 280. This I can't.
I'll double check for you.
And what you get here is you get this AoE shooting, but you also get, if an enemy hero is slain within 9, add 1 to attacks with melee weapons used by vampire units that are wholly within 12 and 2 next hero phase. So you can kill an enemy hero using the Wail or your spell, which is a mortal wound spell, and that will buff your Bloodknights.
Yep, 290.
290, okay. So it's still a hero, it's still a wizard. It's 4 up save, 12 wounds. It's not a bad option. Like, I think between this and a Vengorian Lord, it's tough, but it's more of a shooty, and it's, you know, if you're running Bloodknights, it's probably something to think about. But I think the Mortis engine, although like worse, technically, it's also very good. But I've always liked it.
Yeah, it also feels a bit poopy that Blood Siphon doesn't drink your runes back.
Yeah, it's a bit like Vile Transference, right? So, so you've got +1 to cast Soulblight Gravelords units wholly within 12. It's always had that. It's great. Wail of the Damned.
There's a lot of 7s in the book. There's a lot of 7s and 8s, and there's a lot of good spells on profiles that are higher to cast. So
it will stack with the Corpse Cart, which we'll get to. But
we will.
Once per battle, you can unleash the Reliquary and roll dice for each enemy unit within 12. On a 2+, they take D3 mortal wounds. Death units are not affected. So I think there's a list where you run 3 of these. They all move up towards something. So they're all within 12. So you move 14, 12. So it's a 26-inch range. You're going to roll 3 dice, 4+ D3s. And then it's, if you get the next turn, you go, now they're all going to open the Reliquary. And you're going to basically do another D3 mortals on the 2+. Then it's your shooting phase. Then you're going to do another D3 on a 4+. So that's quite a lot of mortal wounds. The plus to cast doesn't stack, but the shooting on it is good. And also in combat, it's mortal wounds. It's a blobby base that you can use to protect your heroes by being next to them. How you use it. Base. Yeah, because it's a big chariot base, so you can basically stand that next to a Mortarch. So it just means they can't get as many models in combat with it. And they're going to hit your Mortis engine, but actually 12 wounds 4 up save is more resilient than you think.
Yeah, it is, especially.
And it's a really good model at killing little like chaffy units around the edges.
Yeah,
it's really good.
14-inch move, great. A load of stuff. Now, I have a question off the back of that. Then, what are the other things that are AOE or pokey that would help you double down on that? Because you don't have shooting. That's the type of strategy you'd like to back up with shooting. I guess Mannfred spell would be a really good, like an incredible addition. Actually, what else would work out in the book?
Endless spells, some of them might work.
Yep.
I'm trying to think. Not a lot. You might have an idea that I don't, but
you want a way to capitalize on it if possible, don't you? But it's gonna cause a massive amount of disruption with someone doing something like that.
I think it'd look cool as well.
It'd look brilliant. It'd look absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got hordes of stuff with corpse carts and necromancers and maybe like Vicross or whatever. And you've got, it's 600 points to free. It's not a lot for what you get out of it. I mean, they're pretty cheap for what they do. I love the Mortis engine, always have.
Yep.
It's just great. I mean, it's never been a wizard, but it's just like, yeah. I mean, it doesn't get the heal anymore when it unleashes the reliquary, but the fact that the whale is a shoot and attack and you can move and do it, and yeah, it's decent because it just hits everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a 4+, but it's quite cool. Lots of mortal wounds. It's a nice chip away. If you're behind like hordes of like hard to kill stuff and you've got your debuffs going and death saves and stuff's coming back, and then you have like one super character. I mean, like, Neferata with the -1 to hit bubble, in Legion of Blood be pretty decent. Yeah, I don't know.
12 inches from that base is much bigger than anyone is expecting as well. Like on the table, if you were to put templates down for that, you'd just be covering the entire thing.
Yeah, it's not wholly within, it's just 12, so...
Yeah.
Zombie dragons and Terrorgheist, probably don't need to talk about those because they're the same, other than they could be battle line and Terrorgheist. Terrorgheist might be a good option to go with that as well, but it's a behemoth, so you could take... For every Terrorgheist, you've got to drop a Mortis engine if you get to 4. So I was thinking more you run like the Mortark and 3 Mortis. But anyway. Yeah. We covered everything. Vargheists, I guess, and the corpse guards.
Yeah. Vargheists. Yeah, well, should we cover your babies first, or do you want to do Vargheists first?
Let's do Vargheists. Get them out of the way.
Okay. So important to note with these, battle line in Legion of
Night.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Death's Descent, they could just drop down from the sky 9 away.
Right.
Obviously, you're going to be restricted on what you can set up, because if you want to put stuff in the graves, and they're fast, they're movement 12, 3 attacks, 3 rend, 1 damage 2. And if you roll a hit roll with a 6, it does 2 hits instead of 1, make a wound for each. So like you could spike and do quite a lot of damage. I quite like these.
Brilliant flankers. That's how I've always loved them. And people have to watch their wizards as well. 3 of these going into a wizard is enough to kill it.
They're also vampires. So like anything that buffs vampires, like the Bloodseeker Palaquin and things like that, will buff these as well. So
nice. Yeah.
I think they're like one of those units that are quite easy to overlook, but I think they're decent.
Agreed. Yeah.
And on the other side of that, Felbats is probably the other thing we should talk about.
They're cheap.
75 points, 14-inch move, 3 wounds, 6 up save, 3 attacks, 4s, no rend, 1 damage, and they can retreat and charge. Now, I actually quite like them purely because they're quite fast, and I know they don't have very special sexy rules or anything, but if you're going to run 10 Direwolves...
They're just bats, they don't need them.
Like 2 units of bats... They're just annoying, right? Like, yeah, they're just
roll on bats. They could be 1 billion inches across the table, and someone has to go and deal with them.
I feel like they could have done like a -1 to hit them or something from shooting, where they're flappy around or something.
Cloud or
like
if they're attacking a shooting unit, they're -1 to hit or something. Yeah, something.
Like they should. I don't know. They're not very interesting. I've bought some, probably would never get into my list. But if you've got 75 points over, then you probably take a unit.
Again, I could see taking 1 unit of them for sure, as is a lot of things. I'm going to have to write the one of everything list now, aren't I?
Yeah, the one of everything. So let's talk about corpse carts, which I think...
Now, these aren't one of, are they? You like these.
80 points, right? And you're getting 6 wounds, 6 up save. No, you're not doing any damage. We don't care about that. But you get plus, if you've got the Unholy Lodestone, you get +1 to cast for Soulblight Gravelords units wholly within 12. So
useful, really, really useful on a budget. That's already fine.
Then you've got the Locus of Undeath, which is add 1 to save rolls for Deadwalker zombies wholly within 12. So yeah, they get a 6 of save. It's not a big deal, but it's cool. The +1 to cast is a big deal for 80 points.
It really is. It's an absolute bargain. Turn 1, get off your stuff you need and off your rug.
Prefer the Brazier. You'll get -1 to cast in for enemy wizards, but also subtract 1 from wound rolls for attacks made by melee weapons by enemy units while they're within 9.
Now, because that's debuffing your opponent and not buffing a specific thing of yours, there are no requirements other than the 9 inches on that one.
and it protects. If the units within 9, they're all debuffed.
Yeah.
And what I like about it as well is that you don't have to turn it on. So if they're coming at you and you've got a Vengorian Lord and a corpse cart and it's hugged with stuff, and they're within 3 of the Vengorian Lord, they're going to be worse than Rend, they're going to be -1 to wound, you haven't even had a go yet. And if you're playing Legion of Night, you're getting +1 save on your Deathrattle and Deathwalker anyway. So your Graveguard will go up to a 3-up save if they've got shields, -1 to wound, and you're resting your Rend by 1, you're probably not going to kill many. Then they're going to come back at you, and it's going to be horrible. I think...
Are you 2 Braziers then, when you're writing your lists, or are you one of each?
I'm one of each at the moment, but I think it might be 2 Braziers.
I just can't escape the +1 to cast bonus. Just think it's
big, but in Legion of Night you can take Morbeg's Claw, which allows you to, on your Necro, which allows you to basically go, right, I'm not going to move, I'm not going to fight. I get +2 to cast for every wizard within 12. And what you do is you have that one phase where you need Van Hels, you need, the other spells to go off. He kind of stands there and does his ritual. You get all the buffs off. You have your super turn. After that, you're not really caring about if you got Van Hels and stuff. So depends on your list. I've got one of each type at the moment. Because I've got Deadwalker zombies in my army, so it's like, you can +1 save. I don't know if it matters, but the +1 to cast. I just think like the -1 wound bubble is so good, and I'd want to have 2 because it's quite easy to kill it. So it's like, if you've got 2, it's harder to get rid of them both, and you get a wider bubble.
3. Maybe you need 3 Russ.
Maybe.
I mean,
but I think I'd rather have a Mortis engine for +1 to cast. It's 200 points, but then if you have that and
I just think you go both,
and you got +2.
Because
maybe
I think that there's a load of archetypes of how to build a VC list that are in this book, and I think it's a really enjoyable book to build a list with. It's quite like the Slanesh one. So you start looking at this type of thing, and you're like, well, actually, what can I do? If you're going to do the Twin Towers or Triple Towers Mortis engine list, like what could you do with that? And I think 2 Mortis engines, a corpse cart, and a load of pokey techie stuff, you could end up running a completely off the wall, ridiculous army that didn't play like anything that's ever been in this book, at least. Maybe some other stuff that's been in Warhammer, but I think there's some really, really interesting stuff there. And when it comes to your heals, you're probably going to be casting it like +8 or something stupid. Which is...
I mean, it's cool. I mean, I think like the book's so interesting because there's so much choice. You're not... there's no like, oh, this is rubbish, don't take this, don't take that. You're like, even the Cursed City scrolls, we're like, maybe. Like, maybe you take Virkos and you take this and that, and you take, you use the Radukar, and, I think Graveguard as battle line, even like Vargheists as battle line, you've got, Deadwalkers as battle line, then you've got like obviously Deathrattle, Direwolves, so you've got lots of choice there. Avangori if battle line Behemoths if you want. So I don't know. I think it's great. I mean, I've written so many armies in my head, and I'm like, I could do this, could do that, and I think I want a Castelli army, I want a Mannfred army, I want a Neferata army, I want to do a Horde army with Mortis engine towers. I want to do this or that, and I want to try the Coven throne and this, and you like. I've looked at my Death collection and a lot of the stuff because I've got a lot of Nighthaunt, and I'm like, I've got old Direwolves, which are fine, you can use them. I've got a Mortis engine which has seen better days. I've got like no Skellies really. I've got like no zombies. I've got the ones on square bases. I mean, I haven't got any round ones. And I'm like, I don't really have a VC army. I've got like a couple zombie dragons. I've got a converted.
You've got a Death army. You're not got a VC army.
Well, it's a Soulblight Gravelord army, I should say. So, and like, I'm looking at it going, well, I want to do an army. And like, I was on the Slanesh and I was like, well, it's cool and that, but you're on them. And I'm like, well, actually, like, they're not really my thing. And like you said, this book is got as much depth, breadth, and interest as Slanesh.
Yeah, it has.
But it's my bag. So it's like, it's just winning at the moment. So
I think building the characters in this book is going to be supremely rewarding. It's going to be super fun. And then teching out the army playing it and then coming back and being like, there's that one thing I couldn't deal with. What on earth do I do? I think all of those decisions are going to be super interesting for it.
I just found it really fun when I wrote a list and I literally went, what do I want? I want this. I think this. How many points is it? Oh, it's 2,000. Right, okay. So cool. Literally did that today because I was writing an article for Warhammer Community about list building, and I thought I'd just try and go, I want a bit of this, I want a bit of that, I want this, I want that, I want a Graveguard, Death Star, and I was like, oh, it's 2,000 points on the nose. I was like, okay, well that's my list then, fine.
Nice.
You know, but then even afterwards I thought, well, what if Deathrattle skeletons? What if I take the Death March? What if? And you're like, oh, actually, like, are the corpse carts that good? That I'm spending 160 points on them. Are they actually that good?
Are
the zombies really that good? Like,
I think they're still fall on the table. I still think they're phenomenal and they're unique and they're amazing and they probably shouldn't be that good for that many points. Or they're just a bit overcooked. But I think people are going to put them on the table and realise that they still die to a stiff breeze.
They're awful, yeah. I really like skeletons. I just want to do a skeleton army, but I don't know. Like, maybe. I think it's going to be really hard until you play and you start like seeing how resilient they are, and going, actually they do stick around longer, and when they come back, they're more impactful later in the game, and like they don't do damage, but they're not there to do damage. They're there to be around and protect stuff. And
well, if something appears turn 3 when you've already gone in and done a load of damage and you've zombie dragon something to death, or
you just get like a unit at 10 back
or whatever
on turn 4.
Getting a unit at 10 back matters a lot. Like their stock is worth 3 times as much turn 3 or 4 as it is turn 1. So I can see that. And
like 10 skellies is going to be better than having like 10 zombies back.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know. Like I just really like the book. There's so much in it that's good. Even Nagash, like there's Nagash lists and Vordhrai and then Castellai, Bloodknights, you know, even Vargheists. So it's just great. I love it.
What's your favourite bloodline so far? Or 2 favourite?
I would say probably Legion of Night and Blood, if I had to pick 2.
Yeah.
But I do like Castellai and I do like Vengorian. So I like them all. Like, it's like there's no. I don't go. Oh, I don't really like that one. But I think the Virkos. I think the Virkos is powerful. Like I think it's good. Like I think in the game it's good. I don't like the aesthetic of those heroes.
It feels a bit too different to me as well.
It's not.
The others all feel like something I know.
It doesn't feel like when I got that original Vampire Counts 5th edition book and it was all the blue and red cover. And it had the old vampire with like the blood smear and it had the black coach in it. And it's like that.
Let's face it. When you picked up a book that looks like this, you probably know what you want to be doing.
You don't really want like weird, like curly. They remind me a little bit, and this will sound a bit bizarre. Do you know, like the ogre models where they've got like curly, pointy shoes and furry cuffs on their boots and kind of those big baggy pants. It kind of reminds me a little bit of those.
Pantaloons.
Yeah. And I'm like, and I think the problem is one of my old friends, back when the ogres first come out, I think it was 6th edition, he painted all his ogres with like metallic pants like they were wrestlers. And his general was called Pancho Golden Pants. And he had like different like patterns, and some had stripes, some had polka dots. And the problem is, whenever I see a model with like silly baggy pants, I'm either thinking MC Hammer or like some sort of weird like wrestling ogre theme.
Not quite the aesthetic.
Not gothic aesthetic, like evil, dark, gothic. And that's why I really like the Vengorian Lord, because I think it really leans into that aesthetic. The new Bloodknights are amazing. You know, all the new models. Prince Duvalle is the perfect model. Like in my opinion, that Underworld set is like the perfect set. Like
that's brilliant. It's phenomenal.
Ticks all the boxes. Is bang on the money. It's just exactly what they should look like. Yeah, I love it.
Oh, I guess we're going to be writing some lists at some point soon, then, are we? Although there's plenty of exciting stuff coming up, so we'll have to do a Russ's, like once the dust has settled, where your first list is going to go.
It'd be nice to play some games, honestly. So I'm sure at some point I can play games. So yeah, it'd be nice to actually get some models on the table and roll some dice in anger. It's a bit strange because when I did playtest these, the skeletons did feel very good. So I don't know if that might still be true. I think so. I don't want to write them off. Yeah. Hopefully that's given everyone an idea of what everything does and how it interacts and how it synergizes. And I know it's a long show and we talk about
just
everything.
How much of it there is, yeah.
Yeah. If you like this content, then please like and subscribe and do all that stuff and support us. We do like shows like this where we go through the rule scrolls and we read all the rules, but we also do list tech where we put it all together and come up with strategy. In the future, we also, in the past, we have done tournament reports of where we gone to an event, how did we get on, what did we play. Yeah. That will feature once we're doing that, but obviously we're not, and we haven't been since we started doing YouTube content. If you're wondering about the podcast, it is there. I had to migrate the server. It has been moved now, so I will be doing the back catalogue and working on that. So sorry about that, but that took a bit of a back seat. So yeah, cool. Join us for our live on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. And I have done a Slanesh test model, which means that I have to commit to the army now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I might be able to send you some assembled models if you want them, Byron.
That sounds perfect. Bright orange all the way. I have decided I'm not even going to put Bliss Barbs in the army.
Oh, I've got some assembled, but okay.
They are at a maximum of 1 because I don't even want to paint them.
Yeah.
So, yeah, not my bag at all. I've been trying to find ways of putting bows on demonettes.
It's not a bad shout because you could even put bows on Seekers, I guess, as the... Maybe?
It would look quite cool, wouldn't it? Yeah, I love the I want to lean into the demon aesthetic, unless it is, armored infantry that are a bit strange and you can't even see their skin, or it's Sigvald. So yeah, I've started. I've worked out a scheme that I am fairly happy with, and yeah, I'll begin batching them out now. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna slowly tick away at my my Soulblight Gravelords, hopefully. So I can get on with those. But yeah, I've got to settle on my first list. That's the problem now. I'm only going to end up with 1 of everything. And knowing me, probably 5 of everything. But there you go.
Yeah, my VC list was full of really unhelpful stuff. So there's like some stuff that's now in OBR, a lot of zombie dragons, and not enough direwolves. But I do have like 10 zombies, 20 skeletons, and bits and bobs of other things. So and Mortark. So I could get to a list quite fast, I think, if I wanted to give them a try.
Way more Nighthaunt than I'm ever going to need, ever. Yeah, it's a shame I can't take Spirit Host as battle line anymore, but there you go. Or is he just not even a battle line, but just in the army?
Yeah.
But hey ho.
It's what it is. Well, yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you soon.
Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.